Many Digital Circus fans actively discussed the relationships between the main characters and built theories about which characters had romantic feelings for others, arguing about different ships being canonical. With the release of the 5th episode, we saw Jax showing attention to Pomni and Rágatha's negative reaction to it. Moreover, I found all the moments in the 5th episode when Jax secretly tried to learn more about Pomni. And what about Pomni's feelings for Gummigoo? In this video, I will tell you everything about the love triangle in Digital Circus. If you look closely at some moments in the 5th episode, you can see that Jax was trying to get closer to Pomni and learn more about her throughout the episode. It all started in the adventure in the president's office. When Pomni was talking to Kinger under the table, she found out that all the main characters had received sheets with hints about their roles in this adventure. Jax told Pomni that he had forgotten to give her a sheet and wanted to see how she would behave.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, I didn't give you one because I wanted to see what you'd do.
Considering that Pomni was supposed to play the main role in this adventure, the President of the United States, I am sure it was a creative idea from Jax to learn more about Pomni. More specifically, how Pomni behaves in unusual, stressful situations. When Jax appeared in the office as an Australian extremist, Pomni was forced to deactivate the bomb. She had to guess which wire to cut. Jax didn't try to laugh at her or be ironic about her situation. He just told her to follow her heart. After that, Jax asked her to choose her favorite color. Thus, Jax planned the whole situation in order to find out what color Pomni likes. The next moment can be seen in the anime adventure about high school. Jax deliberately sits next to Pomni and starts a conversation with her. It is obvious that Jax is not very good at normal conversations without jokes and sarcasm. He was probably trying to find out Pomni's opinion about anime, school, and Gangle. Jax complains to Pomni that Gangle's idea to go on such an adventure is bad and that she is a loser. His plan fails, and Pomni responds by reminding him of the incident in the 2nd episode when he threw her out of a moving truck. The rest of the stargazing adventure is essentially devoted to Jax sharing his candid opinion about Ragatha and Gangle with Pomni. He wants to get closer to Pomni, open up to her, and at the same time find out her opinion about the other characters. Jax's next attempt to learn more about Pomni takes place in a bar. After discussing the jobs of the different characters, Jax casually switches to talking to Pomni and asks her about her job. Jax assumes that Pomni may not have a job because she may be too young for one. On the one hand, at this point, Jax indirectly asked about her age. On the other hand, Jax probably decided to test his theory that Pomni doesn't like being treated like a child. In this case, he wants to test it by doing exactly what Pomni probably doesn't like. This assumption could have arisen from a moment in the 2nd episode. When Ragatha tried to cheer Pomni up at the beginning of their adventure in the Candy Kingdom, Pomni replied that she was not a child and did not need her attention focused on her. Jax continued to ask her questions about her past. He seemed genuinely interested in how Pomni ended up in the Digital Circus. It looked as if he was listening to her with interest. Jax's interest in Pomni's answers contrasts sharply with how Jax treated the other participants in the conversation. When Zubul participated in the dialogue, Jax simply laughed at the fact that Zubul worked as a bartender and tattoo artist. At the same time, he did not try to ask questions about how the other characters ended up in the Digital Circus. He just annoys Zubul and talks complete nonsense when asked questions. When Pomni stops talking, Jax again begins to hinder any normal dialogue. This tells us that the only person Jax tried to learn more about is Pomni. From all these moments, we can conclude that Jax sees Pomni as a real chance for himself to find a loyal friend in the Digital Circus, or even a soulmate. We can understand that it is very difficult for Jax to get close to someone, to truly trust someone. But he is taking serious steps, and Pomni notices this. This is seen not only by Pomni, but also by Ragatha, who does not like it. First, Ragatha does not trust Jax. His rude behavior seems too chaotic to her. Such a person can easily betray and act cruelly, but that's not the point. It was Ragatha who wanted to form a stable duo with Pomni. Since pilot, she has tried to be kind to Pomni so that they could become best friends. In episode 5, we clearly saw that in the fight for Pomni's attention, Ragatha began to lose to Jax, and this really bothers her. Ragatha began to be jealous of Pomni and Jax, and I see several options for what Ragatha might be feeling in this situation. The first option is that Ragatha simply wants her and Pomni to remain best friends. If you look at how much Ragatha hates Jax, and how Pomni is starting to enjoy his company, there are doubts that Pomni will be able to continue her friendship with Ragatha. Literally everyone in the Digital Circus except Kinger, who was able to talk to Pomni privately and frankly, warns her against being friends with Ragatha, saying that she is constantly pretending. The second option is that Ragatha secretly envies Pomni. If we recall the fourth episode, when Ragatha was under the influence of a stupid sauce and told everyone what she thought, she behaved very strangely with Jax. Ragatha said that she kind of hates him, but at the same time does not want him to hate her in return. This suggests that Ragatha has feelings for Jax, but expresses them in a very unusual way due to her avoidant attachment style. At the same time, Jax replied that she was drunk and should go home and go to bed. Ragatha is definitely not interested in Jax in return. As a result, Ragatha is jealous of Pomni because Jax himself wants to get closer to Pomni and is taking the first steps, leaving her with no choice but to reciprocate. The third theory is that Ragatha is competing with Jax for Pomni's attention because Ragatha has feelings for Pomni. According to this theory, Ragatha wants to enter into a relationship with Pomni. When Ragatha was under the influence of the stupid sauce in the fourth episode, this is why she was so annoyed that Pomni was leaving the others to talk to Gummigoo. Pomni is grateful to Ragatha for her concern, but she does not reciprocate and seeks attention from Jax and Gummigoo. Because of this, Ragatha suffers and envies Jax. She sees how well things are going for Zubul and Gangle. At this time, she is left completely alone without Pomni's attention, and this makes her very sad. Now, Ragatha feels like the loneliest person in the Digital Circus. We have one more character whose role needs to be discussed. It is impossible to ignore how much Pomni is in love with Gummigoo. He is the character who was able to establish good contact with Pomni first in the Digital Circus. The other characters had been here for a long time and had gotten used to the situation in the Digital Circus. As Pomni became a new player, Gummigoo became a new NPC with improved artificial intelligence, who was the first to understand that he was not real. But Pomni was forced to part with him quickly. In the fourth episode, when Gummigoo appeared, he lost his memory, but he was still the center of Pomni's attention for a very long time. It is difficult for her to accept that Gummigoo will probably never remember her. Pomni realizes that because of Cain, she will not be able to build a relationship with NPC, so for now, she prefers Jax. On the other hand, Cain may well be able to restore Gummigoo's memory. If that happens and he reappears with his memories, Pomni will find it very difficult to choose between him and Jax. What do you think about this? What does Ragatha really think about Jax and Pomni? Will Pomni choose Jax, Gummigoo, or Ragatha? Write your thoughts and theories in the comments, and I will definitely read them. The best comments will be featured in new videos. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Good luck everyone, and see you soon.